Hello, and firstly thank you very much to AIVOLT for sending us this generator to test, and a testing I have given it. This particular one is a 1200 watt petrol generator, and it is a Euro Cat 5, so it's a very environmentally friendly one, and it's petrol driven, as most of them are. When I had it, there was no oil in the sump, so that's something you've got to add yourself. Clearly that's done for the realms of safety and transportation. Otherwise to that, it was straightforward. Add oil, add petrol, and then off you go to start. It comes with a host of features. As you can see on the front, here's your main on-off button. That's your idle button, so it can either idle quick or slow. Now I'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards, because this is what you call a smart inverter generator, which what that means is some generators you just start and they will just rev and give you power. This one you start, you can turn the inverter on with this little dial here, and it will draw the power it needs. And when it's drawing the power, it will actually adjust the revs in this unit. So if you're, say, powering a phone, it'll just really be quietly ticking over because you don't need that much power. The moment you start powering your power banks, it will then lift up. So this one is 1200 watts. It'll power this motorhome, no problem at all. But if you start then using a coffee machine, a hair straightener, once you exceed 1200 watts, this doesn't cut out, it just stops giving power. And then there's a notification light on the front. There's a red LED, and that will glow saying you've exceeded 1200 watts. Now this is the lower power one in the range for us to trial, but they do go up to 3 kilowatts and beyond. The other LED lights, this indicates if you're low on oil, and this one just shows that you're charging. In addition, you've got a usual USB output and a USB-C. In there is your 12 volt cigarette lighter socket. In there is your standard 5 amp fuse. You've got your usual red and black connectors for your voltage, and if you want to, if you're using it for a longer time and you're using equipment that needs to be grounded, you can buy an earth spike and connect it into there. But the main one that we're interested in is that. That is where you plug in to get your mains juice from. So this particular unit as well weighs in at 12 kilograms, so it's not too bad, fairly light. And inside this little cover here is your spark plug. It tells you what spark plug you need, so there's no problem there should you need to change it. In behind this little cover here, which is screwed in place, that's where you top up and check your oil. There's an oil dipstick in behind there. So petrol wise, this takes just over 2.2 litres. So I filled it up at the garage the other day. It cost me about £3.50. And then of course, how long is it going to last? Well, depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're charging the power banks and taking out 1.2 kilowatts, it's probably going to last about 3-4 hours. If you're charging an iPhone and taking out not a lot of power, it'll probably run all day, because as I said, it's an intelligent generator which will rev up and down according to your supply and demand. That's the exhaust. So that does get hot, and clearly this will give out carbon monoxide. So whatever you do, don't use this inside. It is able to be used outside, because what you will notice with this one is everything is covered. So if it does get a little bit wet, okay, you know, you don't want to use it in the pouring down rain, because if you've got that exposed and you've got it plugged in, but it has got these protected covers so you can use it. So if it rains, you just shelter it, keep it out of the way. Right, okay, so as I mentioned, there's your petrol, 2.2 litres. So if you want to start this particular unit, it's very simple. All you need to do is, there's your on-off button, and there's your low idle button. And as I said, your idle button is on tick over or high tick over. So if I want to turn this one on, I'd make sure it's turned on there. So you press the red button for on. On the side, you've got run and start. So this is like the old-fashioned choke on a car. Put it on to start. That's your inverter generator. That's off at the moment. Again, I'll show that to you in a minute. So to start it, it just is simply a and then choke off. hear me talking now over this, that's it on tick over. So it's not a whisper generator, but it's quiet enough to talk over. So if I was charging my phone, it would be around that, but what I'll do is show you what it sounds like when I'm charging a power bank. What it does as well is it makes it into pure energy, sine wave. So if you've got sensitive equipment, it makes it very good for that. Rather than just a generator banging out loads of electricity, it's very controlled and very safe. So there we go, that's it now starting. It's starting to get a little bit louder because it's putting power into the battery bank inside the van. It will rev louder, the more I put into it, it'll rev louder and louder until it stops and says you're drawing too much. But I think you can agree it's a lovely bit of kit. The only downside with it, like all generators, is they are antisocial. I'll turn it off now so I can carry on talking, but you kind of get the idea. And that's it, you turn it off with the red button, the same as turning it on. As I said, they can be antisocial because they're noisy. Environmentally friendly, this is probably one of the cleanest generators you can get that runs on petrol because it's a Euro Cat 5. But what we tend to do is, we're in a field now in the middle of nowhere. And what I've done, I've gone down and seen the site owner and said, is it okay to run this for an hour when nobody's up here and it's going to be daylight hours? I wouldn't run it at night, I wouldn't run it in the company of people. It's not the etiquette that you want on a campsite. And he was very appreciative that I asked him, and he said, not a problem, knock yourself out. I didn't do that, but yeah, I can't find any flaws with the generator. It really is a good piece of kit. I think for me personally, if we wanted one to run the van, because we've got numerous power packs, we want to run the van off a generator, which then entails running the fridge and the electric and the coffee machine. At 1200 watts, it will trip, it will stop it running. So if I was going to buy one, I would probably get a bigger one. But to charge your power banks and give you the background energy for the van that you need to recharge your leisure batteries, good bit of kit. So if you are interested in this, there's a link in the description which gives a discount for our subscribers and viewers. And if you've got any questions, how we use it and how we get on with it, please do so. Like I said, it gives out 1200 watts. I've got a 400 watt solar panel around the corner, and that's working really well at the moment. But that's directional. When the sun drops or it's a cold day and we're not getting any power into it, we do need a generator just to give us that little extra boost, because we are a little bit power hungry. But that comes with the territory. We've got a couple of good leisure batteries, but we don't want to completely deplete those. We need to try and manage the health of those batteries. So this, for the sake of carrying a 12 kilo generator, gives us an awful lot of power.